Hi everyone, Iceman here. Um, I just wanted to say thank you for viewing my channel, watching my videos. I really appreciate it. I know that um, time is important, and I appreciate the time that you spend watching me run around aimlessly on video games. Um, we have a lot more video games that I want to cover. I want to be upgrading my setup. That will take a little bit of time. So I'm saving the longer games for down the road. Um, but I'm here today to talk about budget gaming. I grew up knowing the value of a dollar. And I try to make my money, last as long as it can. So if there's a game I want, if I can wait and get it for a better price than what's offered, then a lot of times I'll go that route, unless it's something that I absolutely have to have, a must-play title, which here recently there hasn't been anything come out. So today I want to talk about some of my budget finds. I have found budget buys from a wide variety of sources, not just flea markets or pawn shops, Goodwill, or any kind of stores like that. Some of my finds are fairly interesting, and I thought maybe you'd be interested. So let me cut to them. Let me talk about some of the games, and we'll go from there. Okay, my first budget find that I want to talk about is Twisted Metal Black for the PS2. This is the greatest hits version, and I don't necessarily know when this came out. It says 2001. That might not be correct. One of my friends that had a PlayStation 2, he loved to play this game, and I watched him play it, and it was really interesting that there was a unique style to it, and the music in the game, of course, it's classic. I wanted it as a kid, and sometime in and it is complete. Like, it's got the booklet and the game. I had to the box was like beating all the crap because nobody takes care of their stuff. So this is a replacement box, which no big deal for me. But I found this sometime in 2005, maybe. No. It had to be 2003 or 2003 or 2004, somewhere along those lines. I was working for this guy doing computer repair, and he was a cool dude to hang out with, and he would take me places, and we would just hang out and have fun. Close to our shop, there was a guy that was selling. He was just having a yard sale, and he was selling a variety of stuff. And I came across this, and I asked him how much he wanted, and I think he was wanting like $1.25, like some stupid, like some stupid number, crazy number, and crazy low. And I was like, man, I had a lot of fun watching one of my friends play it back in the day. I kind of want it, and immediately he drops the price to 75 cents. So I said, all right, and I bought it. and I don't remember the clown character. It's Sweet Tooth, right? Sweet Tooth. Played through the game with him. I don't know if I played through the game anymore with anybody else. It's one of those games that's it's a lot more fun to watch somebody else play it than to actually play it. So if you enjoyed this game, then you know, props to you. It's a classic game, but it's not one of my favorites. But I appreciate I appreciate its aesthetics. You know, I like the design, and the concept was unique. It wasn't straight up racing. It was more of a demolition derby type game. So you know, I got it for hardly nothing, but not one of my favorite games. But yeah, another budget game that I got. This one I really enjoyed playing. Manhunt. It is gory, and it's kind of difficult, mainly just because of the controls. Made by Rockstar Games, you know, same people that made GTA. It plays a lot like the early GTA games, just except with the controls and everything. Other than that, completely different. This game and the second one, which I haven't found the second one yet, got a lot of bad publicity for the violence and whatnot. It says right on the box, mature 17 up. So, you know, it's like getting an R-rated movie. I mean, you know what you're getting. You know, it says Manhunt, and when you read it, it tells you, you know, kind of what's going on. You know, it's not going to be like puppies and kittens and squirrels. You know it's going to be rough. Well, anyway, kind of getting off point. One of my friends had this, and when he got rid of his PS2, or when his PS2 broke, he was just like, "Hey, you want this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." I might be doing a playthrough of this sometime in the future, if YouTube will let me. So it's a rough game, but it's fun. So yeah, Manhunt PS2 free, $0. And yeah, Manhunt was complete, had the booklet and everything in it. So this game I found at Replay Games. Street Fighter, the Anniversary Collection, and basically it has Hyper Street Fighter 2, which it's a blend of 5 Street Fighter 2 games in one. I think you can choose which version of the character that you want, which is pretty neat. And then it also had Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So, you know, I'm big on fighters. Oh yeah, and it also had the full-length feature film Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. And I don't remember. I looked up which version of the movie it was, because I know there's an edited and unedited version where you get to see Chun-Li in the shower or whatever. You know, I don't know which version of that is on there, but yeah, you know, I love fighting games, and when I saw this, the price was just, it was right where it needed to be for me to say, yeah, okay, $5. So pretty awesome. I love fighting games, and finding deals on stuff is great. So $5 on Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, and it is complete. It's got the booklet and the game. So, doing the Mortal Kombat Complete Strategy Guide site, which actually I'm renaming soon to just Mortal Kombat Complete, or MK Complete, just for link's sake. Doing that site, I was getting quite a few hits, and I was contacted by Namco, and they said, "Hey, will you review our games for us, or do yeah, just post game reviews on your website since you're getting quite a bit of hits." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure," because I didn't really know what that entitled. But I was like, I've been contacted by Namco, and I was like, well, I might as well work with them. So basically, they started sending me games, and these are the only two I have left, because the other two or three I think I gave away or sold. So they gave me Soul Calibur 2, great fighting game, except I don't want to call it a button masher for people that actually enjoy it, but it's hard to go from DOA Mortal Kombat to this. You have to really know what you're doing when you're playing this, and also Spawn Armageddon, which Spawn was actually a guest character in the Xbox version of Soul Calibur 2, and then Spawn Armageddon came out, both made by Namco. I don't know if there was some kind of trade-off. If Todd McFarlane was like, hey, if you want Spawn in Soul Calibur 2, he's got to have his own game. Well, they made Spawn Armageddon. I had a lot of fun with this game starting off until it got to the later levels where it was just incredibly insane. I might do a playthrough of this sometime. Not really like a full playthrough, but like a review. I might talk about that. But both of these games, as well as three others, and I wish I could remember the other games. Dead to Rights, Kill Switch, I think. I don't know. And then there was another one about. It was kind of like the precursor to Mirror's Edge, where it was like first person, and there was like you're doing like gymnastic type stuff in first person, and it was really disorienting, and I got rid of it. But yeah, I kept these because I love Spawn. I've always loved Spawn. Soul Calibur 2, not a bad game. Just needs to be tightened up. It feels very arcadey. So, but still, Soul Calibur 2 is probably the best Soul Calibur out of the Soul Calibur series, in my opinion. So, yay! Another game that I got a really good price on, Halo 4, kind of a recent game, more recent than some of the others. Me and my nephews, we play Halo over System Link. Played a lot of Halo 3, and I was in GameStop with my wife, and they had Halo 4 for like $4. I don't know why. I don't know the story on it, but I said shoot, I want to say this was about the time that Halo 5 was coming out, so maybe that's why they were doing that. I had played Halo 4 when it came out, and I was kind of, I was just burnt out on shooters. So, yeah, for $4, I was like, sure. And I bought two of them so that we could play at System Link, and of course the boys loved it. They loved playing it, and I think it's between Halo 3 and Halo 4 that they get the most play. I've tried to convince them to go back and play some Halo 1 or Halo 2, but they'd rather play 3 and 4, which is still pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's the best of the Halo series. I have yet to play 5. Halo is one of the best games of all time, the best series, but I think they need something to revitalize it, and I think one way of doing that would be to um, give more game options for System Link instead of trying to push live. You know, all the games are with the multiplayer stuff. It's like live. You gotta pay for this. Well, what about for the people that don't want to pay a monthly subscription because they don't really have the time to devote to it? They still want to have that multiplayer aspect available. What can you do, right? So, Halo 4, $4. So, growing up, I had every Mortal Kombat game for the Super Nintendo. I had the first 3. I did not get Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 because I think I rented it, and it seemed like it wasn't. And I mean, of course, the Super Nintendo games weren't arcade perfect, but it seems like there was a quality drop from Mortal Kombat 3 for the Super. When they put more characters in, I think like frames were lost, and it just didn't seem up to par with the others. So I didn't get it at the time, and then I eventually got a Nintendo 64 and got Trilogy. So I was like, well, what's the point of getting Ultimate MK3 for the Super Nintendo? When I got older, I was like, hey, I really want this game. I really need it for my collection. But by that time, it was like $30-some, and I was like, I don't want to put $30 into a Super Nintendo game like now. Because still trying to do budget deals. So recent flea market. Well, I say recent. I think it was maybe a year or two ago. It feels recent. Some dude was selling Ultimate MK3 for the Super Nintendo. It's a little beat up. It's not. I could buy a replacement sticker, but it'd just be more money onto it. My nephews, they were still in that cute, young stage where they could go up and be like, how much is this game, and the people would give them a discount or whatever. I think they wanted 35 for this game, and I think my nephews were able to get it for like around 25 or something. So I was like, yeah, that definitely. So that was awesome. And one of my close friends, she knew I had been, looking for Clay Fighter, 63 1/3, and Sculptor's Cut, which I don't think I'll ever find Sculptor's Cut now, but she found 63 1/3 for the N64, and she just gave it to me as a gift. So that was awesome. It's definitely beat up. It's got some weird little marks, but plays good. I'll definitely be doing a video on this. I don't know if anybody's played these games on emulators, but for whatever reason, the emulated Clay Fighter games on the N64 they just play like crap for some reason, and it could be my system. So I like to check out our local Goodwills from time to time, because some people they throw out video games. So some good video games. You see a lot of sports titles, but I like to find deals on games. There was a previous video where I talked about finding Tetris for the Game Boy for like, I think it was like $4, something like that. My wife was looking around Goodwill, and she went to the what do you call it, the board games section. And in the board game section was Duke Nukem 3D Kiloton Collection, which has, almost every version of Duke 3D released. It's got the plutonium pack, the atomic edition. Duke It Out in DC, Duke Extreme, and the Duke Zone. What was it, Duke Zone 2? They had like interactive maps. Like everything is here. Everything was in the box, which for $4, I was like, well, even if it's just the game, just for the box, that's worth it to me. But everything was in it, and it was complete, as far as I know. And it opens funny. I think it opens like this. Yep. Yeah. So everything's in there. Yeah. Yeah. And the cases, cases are in good shape. All the manuals are there. The discs they're in great condition. I mean, $4, you couldn't beat that. I wanted this as a kid, but I already had the standard Duke Nukem 3D game, and of course my parents were like, "We ain't paying $150 so you can have the same game just with a little extra stuff," which I get. As a parent now, I get it, but I always wanted this, and now I have it. And they put the price sticker on Duke Nukem's junk, and I don't know if someone knew the game and they were being funny, but Duke Nukem's junk is $4 apparently. Not a bad buy. So growing up, I skipped out on the PlayStation. I went from the Super Nintendo to the N64. I do not regret that decision at all, because now as an adult, I can go back and collect PlayStation games, the ones that I wanted, and viewing it from an adult perspective, I can have more fun out of them. I can, as a kid, it would have taken me forever to run through the games, and now I can run through them fairly quickly. One of the games that I really wished would have came out for the N64 was Silent Hill for the PlayStation 1, the PS1 version of Silent Hill. I was really disappointed that the N64 didn't have a version of this, and I understand why with the cutscenes, the full motion video. I understand why, but this made me want a PlayStation so much. One of my friends had this for the original PlayStation, and I remember at my old house, he brought his PlayStation up, and it was me and it was a ton of other people, 5, 6, 7 people, and we played Silent Hill, and he had the strategy guide, and so we, if we got lost or whatever, we would take a look at it, and that was one of the first times that I remember playing the game. Really fun game, and they took the hardware limitations of the PlayStation and they used it to their advantage with the fog. It just created that atmosphere. It truly one scary game. My wife played it with me, and she was like, "Why is this scary?" But at the time, and even still to this day, I find this to be one of the scarier games. Not so much horror, but psychological. It makes you think. It gets under your skin. I will be doing a playthrough of this sometime in the near future. That's gonna be fun. I wish I could have my buddy B with me when I do it. So hopefully that'll work out. But anyway, yeah, when the Silent Hill movie came out, eBay and everything, people started selling the original Silent Hill game for like $100 or more. And I searched eBay until I found somebody that had it for $10. And I wasn't expecting much as far as the quality of the product. I was sure it was going to be beaten all to heck, because normally that's what happens. There's a little scratch on the case, but other than that, you know, everything's good. Everything's really good. So I know the lighting's probably bad, but this is the Slim PS2. My wife was before I married her, and still to this day, she was a big fan of Kingdom Hearts for the PlayStation, and I always, I would let her borrow my PS2 to play Kingdom Hearts at her little apartment. And my downstairs neighbor, I worked on some of their computer stuff, so she knew I was into video games and electronics and whatnot. They decided that they were going to sell their daughter's Slim PS2 because she didn't play it all that much. And I think I got it for around $30, which it's a little much for the system, for me. This had to be like 6 years ago. But it came with 2 extra controllers. I think one of them was decent. One of them was kind of like a knockoff third party. And it came with a few games. I think I gave most of them away. But $30 for the PS2 Slim, not bad. And this stayed at my girlfriend's apartment for the longest time. And now that now that we're married, I got it set up in the spare bedroom. So, yeah. And again, I apologize for the lighting. This is my Xbox 360 S, I believe. I think it's the S series. Found this at Goodwill. They wanted $20 for it because they couldn't hook it up and see if it actually worked. I took it home. It did have some trouble reading discs. I had to take it apart, clean the lens, put it back together. It's been running smooth since then, and that had to be like 3 years ago that I found that. I did actually have to take it apart again recently and clean the lens again. So, it could just be a problematic drive, but I've gotten a lot of use out of it, and I watch it at night. I stream stuff, stream Netflix at night, so it's on quite a lot. So it's probably getting a lot of dust inside. But $20 Goodwill, can't beat that for Xbox 360. And here's my original Xbox. I bought it new a little bit after they came out, so didn't really save a lot of money there. But here's the PS1. Let me see if I can drag it out. Now, I found my PS2 before I found the PS1. The PS1 dirty. The PS1, I went to a yard sale with an acquaintance, and they had a tote full of game systems, and there was a PlayStation, Super Nintendo, N64. I think there was, and everything had the hookups, a few games and like controllers, and so I went half and half. And there was a Sega Genesis. So I went half and half. It was $30, for the whole thing. So I put in $15. I got the Sony PlayStation, and I also got a Sega Genesis, which I think I have boxed up somewhere. I need to find a place for it. So yeah, and actually I've found more PlayStations that I use for parts. They're tucked away in my closet. I got like 2 of them in there. So there's that. And here's the Sega Dreamcast. One of my friends gave this to me. Didn't have any games with it. I've only got one game for it, Mortal Kombat Gold. It's something that I want to devote more to. You know, there's a lot of great fighting games for the Sega Dreamcast that I need to start trying to collect. But a great system, and to just, you know, to be given it for free, you know, that's great. So there you go. And here is the original fat PS2. Now this is a great story with this one. This is partly the reason why I wanted to do this video. So well, first of all, I skipped on all of the PlayStation hardware. You know, the PS1 and the PS2. I just skipped it because I was more into the Nintendo games, and so yeah, I skipped the PlayStation, went with the N64, and I don't regret that decision. There was a lot of great games for the N64. N64 was one of my top video game consoles of all time, and it still is. So I don't regret going with the PlayStation 1. When the PlayStation 2 came out, I was seriously thinking about getting it. I really liked the graphics for the most part. The controllers I wasn't too big on, but the graphics seemed like a step up. And I was seriously thinking about getting one. Well, then soon after that, the original Xbox, it came out. So I was like, well, shoot, this looks a ton better than the PlayStation 2. So I'll just put my money into it, and I ended up getting an Xbox, which I don't regret that for any reason. Like the Xbox, the original Xbox and the 360 have some of the best games ever made. But anyway, PlayStation 2. I was working at the computer repair place, and this guy comes in with a box, and he's like, "Hey man, I got this VCR, and I'll sell it to you for $10." And most people would have been like, VCR, because by that time DVDs were coming out. But I did a lot of video editing, and I still use VCRs with some stuff because I was old school. And I was like, well, let me take a look at it. And he had it in like a huge shoe box or something. He opens it up, and it's a fat PS2. It's got like 4 controllers, a couple games. I don't even remember what the games were because I think I sold some of them. It had, it has the network adapter. Doesn't have a hard drive. Get in there. But dude was like, yeah, man, because you can have it for $10. And after looking at all the stuff that was in there, I was like, look, I'll give you $15 for it. And maybe I should have just took it for $10, but I didn't want to rip the guy off. But looking back on it, he probably ripped it off of somebody else. It was just a weird situation. So yeah, I got the PS2. I think it was 2003, and I got it for $15, and $5 of that was charity on my part. So PS2 is a great system. I don't have as many games for it as I do the Xbox or the 360, but still a great system. And it's got Kingdom Hearts, so there you go. So yeah, that's the majority of all the budget titles and the deals that that I've found for the last 18 years, maybe. I don't know, sometime somewhere in that range. Of course, when some of my friends, when they get rid of their systems, they're like, "Hey, man, do you want this game?" And if it's something that I'm interested in, then I'll, the original Legend of Zelda for the NES, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo, Turok 2 for the N64. So it's good to have friends that'll be like, "Hey, man, I have this game and I don't want it anymore. Do you want it?" Yeah, so that's great. So yeah, from there, if I find any flea market or Goodwill or any kind of video game related deals on stuff, I will video it and post it if you're into it. So leave me some feedback. Tell me your stories. Tell me your deals on video games. And yeah, I appreciate your views. So yeah, thanks for watching, and take care.